Father's Day is here, and Dick's has the equipment to give Dad that perfect day. Check out amazing deals throughout the store, or let him choose his own gift with a Dick's gift card. Every season starts at Dick's.
Woodrow Wilson Page, William Timothy Kalisha, Pablo Stanislaus Torrey, Jacqueline, no middle name because gangsta ain't got none McMullen. Today, the Los Angeles, California Kings, the New York Hockey Rangers, Mellow Love in Boston, and Sleepy, Snory, Bored Up.
Can you really blame them now?
Let's go around the horn.
My middle name, by the way, is Ann, as like Ann.
Welcome to Around the Horn. Here's Tony Reali.
Hey now. Welcome back around the Super Bowl, getting rid of Roman numerals.
Ooh,
what that means for life.
There's no L?
What about L?
We'll get to that in a bit, but first.
You know what L stands for, boy?
It's the first word.
Loser.
A series that was called over by Plaschke 2 days before it started.
I can't imagine the Rangers, frankly, have a whole lot of chance.
Mute for everybody coming out of that, where the teams had it out on Twitter over Stanley Cup Final versus Stanley Cup Finals, where Alain Vigneault gave us a rousing Ranger proclamation. I know they won there in the final before. We've been the underdog. We're really going to try hard. Okay, end quotes. It all starts tonight. Speaking of underdogs and overdogs and just dogs, Woody Page, would you rather be the underdog or favorite in this series?
I want to be the overdog. I agree with Plaschke. I'm going with the Kings. I want my experienced team on the ice. And you've got, and you probably have never heard this before, Tony, but there are 17 players on the Kings who have been in Stanley Cup playoffs or finals before. 16 of them were with the Kings 2 years ago when they won the Stanley Cup. And in goaltending, you've got to talk about Jonathan Quick, who has won 2 games and lost 1 against the other side, the Rangers.
They're called the Rangers, so that's interesting, though. As we go to Kalisha here, he's taking Quick over Lundqvist. Is that how you see it, Timmy?
No, you can't make that pick at all, and I've thought about this a lot. I probably overthought it, but I'd rather be the underdog. I like a lot of things about the Kings. I think the Kings are a slightly better team than the Rangers, but the Kings haven't played a goaltender nearly as good as Lundqvist throughout the playoffs. This is Lundqvist's chance. This is the Rangers' defense's chance. The Rangers are faster than the Kings. They do some things better than the Kings. They're not better overall, but they're good enough, and I think the Rangers win in 6 games.
And when you brag that you probably overthought this, do you usually underthink things on our show, Kalisha?
Some of the top.
Don't answer. Pablo.
At least he's thinking. But look, I want to be the Rangers because as much as this may reek of homerism, also be reminded that I'm now voluntarily choosing to be owned and operated by Jim Dolan. But I do that for this reason. Henrik Lundqvist, 15 goals in his last 9 games. Jonathan Quick, 26. Lundqvist leads the playoffs in save percentage at 93%. Tim's absolutely right. They've never faced, the Kings haven't, a goaltender like Lundqvist in these playoffs. And I think this is a 7-game series. And if that's the case, then I want the guy who's the only goalie in NHL history to win 5 consecutive Game 7s in Lundqvist. And also, he looks like a character from Game of Thrones, as we've noticed previously on the show.
Jackie McMullen.
Wow, that's a lot to take in. But you know what? I will say this. If there's a Game 7, where's it going to be, Pablo? It's going to be in Los Angeles, in Jonathan Quick's house. I agree with you. Lundqvist has been the better goalie in the postseason, the best goalie in the postseason. In fact, we tried to tell you that in a previous show, as I recall. But we won't go into that now. But here's the thing. The Rangers, 13% on their power play. We know the Rangers have trouble scoring. The Kings... This is unbelievable to me. They average 3.5 goals a game. That's a ton of goals in the postseason. So maybe this is the time that they get to Lundqvist with that kind of firepower.
Page back in.
I'll be quick. Not Jonathan Quick. I'll just be quick here. 7th game, Stanley Cup Finals. Home team wins 75% of the time, Jackie, so you're right about that. And Quick won to Conn Smythe for a reason 2 years ago.
Right. The Game 7 statistics are all over the place in hockey. Maybe in the Stanley Cup Final it's 75%. In the rest of the playoffs it's closer to 50-50. And we just saw Los Angeles win 3. 3 Game 7s on the road. Kalisha, finish us off. We'll move on.
They've won a lot of Game 7s, but the Rangers have won 7 of the last 9 games. They've been the hotter team. And, Jackie, they haven't had trouble scoring lately. Not in the playoffs they haven't. They did during the regular season. But I think it'll be a great series, but I like the Rangers.
So just for all the people scoring at home, Kalisha's got the Rangers. Woody's got the Kings. He agrees with Plaschke. Jackie, you've got?
Kings. The Kings.
And Pablo Torre, his hometown New York Rangers. We'll move on. Baseball now. Friday it was called War. Saturday, it continued with more words. Fast forward to now, David Ortiz, quote, "We're the ones getting fines and suspensions. I guess the rules aren't for everyone," end quote. So far in this scrap, only people ejected were Red Sox, and pitcher Brandon Workman, the only one fined and suspended 6 games. Jackie, do Ortiz and the Red Sox have beef here?
I think Ortiz does have beef here because he's the one that got plunked by the baseball in the first inning, and I think everybody in the entire park understood why, because of what happened during the American League playoffs before with the 2 home runs and all that. And even the umpires must have sensed that because they immediately warned both benches. The problem is here for Ortiz and for the Red Sox is there's a certain unwritten code that we go by in baseball, and that's what got them into trouble. When Workman came onto the mound, his teammates expected him to do what he do, to throw behind that batter, and so he gets tossed and he gets suspended. That's the right course of action. If the umpires really wanted to take hold of this game, they should have ejected Price in the first inning if they thought that he was trying to send the message.
Pablo.
Jackie, the 2 most important words I think you said there were American League, because all of this amounts to me, thinking about it more, for a reason to abolish the designated hitter. Because if you're talking about justice being meted out, I get what David Price's culpability is. I even get what David Ortiz's culpability is. And I kind of get what Brandon Workman was doing. He's the starting pitcher on the other team. However, what did Evan Longoria do to warrant being thrown behind, or on a perhaps more rainier day, maybe get thrown in the back himself? If you want to have a fair sense of justice, have the pitcher who is plunking guys actually take at bats. That's what I think about
So
it.
you think if they abolished the DH, they would get this out of the game as well? Callister's shaking his head no.
Before Pablo abolishes the DH, you might want to check that one borough away, those Mets pitchers' hitting stats. See how that's working for them and how much he wants to keep watching that. I don't think the Red Sox have a beef for the simple reason that this has been the way it is in baseball forever. And it's true in football, basketball, hockey. If you're the one who retaliates, you're the one who gets penalized. In any situation, you can't toss out the first pitcher to hit a guy in a game because you can't tell, even though it looks like Price probably did that intentionally. You don't know he did that intentionally. I think, that's when the warnings go out. And from that point on, those are the people that are going to get in trouble.
You say you can't tell about Price. Jackie would say otherwise. Let's bring in Woody Page here.
It's close.
Well, Tim, you didn't overthink it. You didn't underthink it. You thought that just perfectly right. I totally agree with you. This is a tradition, the history of baseball, that Price was warned. It's protocol in baseball. Umpires are not supposed to look at a little black book and go, oh, here's what happened 3 years ago in a game, and now they're coming back to do it. They were going by exact rules in baseball.
And you believe
right
they were right
now.
in doing that?
And so, yeah, and so when the retaliation occurred, they did what you're supposed to do. You kick him out of the game, and then he's the guy that's suspended. So if you're going to have this silliness in baseball, you either, A, cut it out entirely, and you suspend guys for 25 games for starting it, or you abide by what the rules are,
Pablo,
and they
back
do that.
in.
So,
Well, and I also want to take David Price to task a little bit for this increasing overwhelming sense of moral superiority here. Because remember, the game in which he's talking about where Ortiz was showboating was the game in which David Price then called everybody who criticized him nerds. And now in this game, he takes the side of really the Brian McCann-ish moral policeman of baseball against the Ortizes and the Carlos Gomez's and the Puigs of the world. Those are the guys that make this game fun, have a sense of humor about themselves.
Well, just one last point I'd like to make. You guys do remember that David Price also plunked somebody else, Mike Karp, in this game, and still didn't get tossed? Isn't that a little curious?
McMullen 8, Torch 6, Scalisha 5, Page 6. I don't think Tim or Woody found that curious at all. They were just, okay, well, I guess the horn's already sounded. I don't need to say anything else. I can't put those points back up. All right, we're taking a break. Larry Sell Day. Coming up, Nick Saban's extensions. What? The Chandler Parsons project. And what, if anything, is true about these Boston rumors of mellow love? Because Boston does not strike me as a city that's in favor of mellow love. I friggin' love ya!
Buy or
Woody
sell.
Page, 8 points. How do you get those 2 points in the break? Ow! It's buy or sell. Jackie Mack, the weekend was all about Kevin Love schmoozing. Have another Sam Adams there, guy. But what of today's rumor from RealGM.com? Love paired with Rondo and then Carmelo Anthony? How do you like them apples? Not much explaining in how this might happen, Jack. So buy or sell the buzz here.
Well, why don't we throw LeBron James in there? Isn't he going to be a free agent? That sounds like a good lineup for me. Listen, I'm going to sell it only because that deal also made it seem like it's all done, that Kevin Love is definitely coming to Boston. My sources out of Minnesota and other league places tell me that's not the case, that they're not completely enamored right now with what the Celtics are offering. So I think this is still a very much fluid situation.
Woody, why are you shaking your head no?
What's up, dude?
I just don't understand. Ms. Killjoy, I want buzz in my life. I want the Celtics to be relevant again. And you're sitting there, why are you in the program today? We want to talk about the exciting possibility of having a big three again in Boston again. They had a big three in Miami. We would like to see Rondo paired with two guys that
Jackie's
play.
point that Minnesota is not enamored with the potential deal. That deal could be, Jackie, the number 6 pick in Sullinger.
Oh, it would definitely have to be that. It would have to be the future pick.
If you were Minnesota, would you want that deal for Love, Woody?
Well, no.
So what are we talking about here? Kalisha, please.
First of all, Woody, why is Jackie in the program today? Look at the schedule, because it says she's in the show today. That's why she's here. Secondly, I don't think the Celtics like it when their team stinks. So people come up with all these ideas. Let's just add this all-star here and this one here. I don't think they have enough even to get Kevin Love in.
And Pablo, can you speak to the Carmelo of it all, as people say?
Yes, I would actually say that Chicago is the better location for Carmelo's title aspirations, but also the idea of Kevin Love as the fulcrum. He's a guy who hasn't made the playoffs in a sport where everybody makes the playoffs, and he hasn't had his team over 500. I'm wary about anointing him the savior of any franchise.
The Rockets reportedly declining the option on Chandler Parsons. If that sounds like they don't want him, that's not exactly true. They're saying no to $960,000 this year and unrestricted free agency next year in favor of restricted free agency now and a chance to match whatever anyone else offers. What do you buy or sell the Rockets' strategy there?
Well, I'm buying it. I'm selling that all of that talk about caps and stuff. I don't understand that. But I buy the fact that you want to leave yourself enough room so that, unlike what Jackie believes, I want buzz in Houston. And buzz would be the possibility of getting Love or Carmelo or a third guy to go with their big two. So, yes, let's have the excitement.
Does anybody understand anything Woody just said? To answer the question about Chandler Parsons, Woody Page, you say?
I like the Alan Parsons project better.
Kalisha.
There's overthinking on this show, and there's Woody thinking on this show. In this case, this isn't overthinking to say the Rockets and Daryl Morey know what they're doing. There's a better chance of keeping him long-term by not giving him this, by not paying him the qualifying offer now and matching a restricted offer.
Torrey.
Yeah, Parsons has been the best financial bargain, arguably, in the league. And now what Daryl Morey can say to him is, look, we're going to release you from your current deal. You'll make more money. But before we actually do that, we're going to go and find that third superstar, which means we can actually get our priorities in order and have the best of both worlds.
Jackie Mack.
Absolutely. That's exactly what Daryl Morey is doing. He's creating himself cap flexibility as well as later down the road getting Parsons and going out, yes, Woody, for someone like Love. But again, I ask, does Houston have enough? Is Ashik and Jeremy Lin and Terrence Jones, is that enough? I'm not sure
Jackie,
it is.
do you think there's a possibility here that maybe for a sign and trade of Parsons here for Love in return?
That could make some sense. I think that's a possibility, yes. But I don't know. Again, I think Kevin Love right now, the people that can offer him the most, Minnesota the most, is Chicago. I still believe that.
We'll move on. College football now. $55 million for the next 8 years. That's 6.9 per for Nick Saban. That's through 2022 for Alabama and age 70 for Nick. And that's the highest paid in the history of the sport, of course. Really just amounts to a 2-year extension here. Kalisha, buy or sell these numbers?
I'm going to buy him. I mean, he deserves to be the highest paid coach in college football. I'm still waiting to hear a thank you to my alma mater, the Texas Longhorns. They made a lot of this possible for him in a number of different ways. But, yeah, it sounds excessive. It's a lot, but the money is there.
Corey?
He deserves it.
Yeah, I buy the predictability of all of this, given the college football arms race, but I am selling the arms race because this is unequivocally pro-money. This is Andy Reid and Bill Belichick and Pete Carroll range money in a sport when their players make this much.
You think he deserves it?
I think in the world in which he operates in, yes, but that world is a
Jackie McMullen.
I would take issue with the idea, Pablo, that he's in Bill Belichick's territory in terms of annual salary. I think Bill Belichick makes more, but he keeps that very close to the vest, what he does make. I buy the fact that Saban deserves to be the highest paid college coach. But what I think I do sell, Tony, is the fact that their assistants are now in aggregate in excess of $5.3 million for assistant coaches for your football team.
Head coach makes a lot, assistants make a lot. What do you pay?
That's a lot.
Well, of course you're buying the numbers here because of two reasons I think that are important. Number one, in paying those assistant coaches, you make sure, Jackie, that you're going to keep the top quality coaches. They're just not going to run off to minor jobs. Number two, you want to extend his contract. You don't want this Texas-type situation to come up every year, so you want him there to finish his career. You got to buy all the circumstances. He's worth it. The SEC has a new network. They got the money.
What he paid? You had a number 1, a number 2, had a number 3 in there. A few more. You needed a 4 and a 5 to advance to the lightning round. What's the last word?
Well, I think, Tony, by doing this, you are a buzz killer, too.
I don't know what we're going for there, but thank you very much. Timmy, Pablo, Jackie, if you're not doing anything, lightning round next. Coming up, big fly and medium-sized reacts from Dad. Wait for it. Yeah! Meg Mullen 14, Torrey 12, Kalishaw 10, 2 Texas-themed lightning round topics here. Wonder who that bodes well for. It's the lightning round. Number 21 to lead the majors against your old team in the season following your PED suspension. How should Nelson Cruz feel right now? Timmy, how should the Rangers feel right now? How should baseball feel right now?
How should all of you feel about the only panelist who talked to Nelson Cruz yesterday? You know, I think the thing here is that the Rangers are the ones who have to feel, why didn't we become more proactive once the market didn't materialize for Cruz and he ended up signing 1 year and $8 million in Baltimore? Why didn't the Rangers do more to try to keep him? They don't have anyone with more than 6 home runs. He has 21.
Tim, you said you talked to Nelson Cruz and you gave us nothing from Nelson Cruz.
No, well, Nelson Cruz is very happy where he is. He has no regrets about what he's done.
Good to know. Pablo Torrey. All right.
Good to know that Nelson Cruz is generally feeling good about the world these days, but the Orioles should feel vindicated here. They made a bet that number 1, PED punishments wouldn't really have any deleterious effect on the rest of his career. And number 2, that Nelson Cruz's statistics, I mean, the guy in the last 5 years is in the company of Pujols and Cabrera and Bautista and Fielder in terms of that many home runs with that high in OPS. It's a great deal for them.
It was a great deal for the Orioles. Another Dan Duquette move that was way ahead of the curve. And you know what? I think the Rangers team, if I'm not mistaken, wanted him to be a DH, and the Orioles said, no, we'll let you play in the outfield. Great deal for the Orioles. That was a cramp trot, by the way. Had terrible cramps hitting that home run.
Oh, yeah.
Had a hard time.
Cruz in the outfield.
He wanted to take 30 seconds to run around the
By the way, Cruz in the outfield. Don't remind Rangers fans or Rangers columnists about that in the World Series. We'll move on. John Singleton's hello big league moment with the Astros, with the celebration from family. A homer in his debut yesterday, the day after the day he signed the contract, which guaranteed him $10 million and locked him up for 8 years. How should he feel today? How should the Astros feel today? How should baseball feel today, Pablo?
How should I feel about the creativity of the questions our host is asking us? I think that the Astros and the Astros fans should feel great about this, because there have been criticisms from guys like Bud Norris about how the team is operating. They do some things that are unconventional, but they have a process that is based on empirical evidence, and they've been open about it. It's a wonderful experiment.
They should feel good right now.
And they should feel great.
Jackie, how about you?
I feel great, and whenever I hear Pablo talk about empirical evidence, it really gets me excited about this show. And I'll tell you what, with Singleton, he did have a suspension, as we know, but it was not a PED suspension. He actually told the Associated Press he was addicted to marijuana, went into rehab for a month. So for me, this is a kid I'm rooting for. I'm hoping this kid can get that stuff behind him and have a great major league career, and he's got a lengthy contract now to do it with.
Kalishaw?
George Springer and Singleton now, Domingo Santana and Carlos Correa one day soon. The Astros are coming. One day their games are even going to be on television. It's going to be very exciting for people in Houston. This contract could be very lengthy for him, as you said. It could go 8 years, but if you know, that kind of money, you can't really pass it up.
Both for player, but for team as well, Tim. This team just took 8 years, $30 million, but in a guy who hadn't swung a bat in the majors.
There was a lot of risk on both parts, but you know they've seen what he can do in the minors. He's got fielder-like power.
Well, we've seen what Kalishaw can do in the majors. Unfortunately, he's going to the minors right now. It's the last word, Timmy. We'll just leave it. We'll leave it like that. Okay. Sorry. Showdown next. 2 enter, only 1 will leave. Straight ahead.
I missed him.
Pay no attention to that man sleeping in the scoreboard. Jackie McMullen, Pablo Estor. We got no time for chitter chatter. Let's go. Showdown 1. The news today: the Super Bowl will be ditching the Roman numeral for Super Bowl 50. No L. It will be 5-0. And then reportedly back to Roman numerals for 51 and up. Pablo, do you endorse this change?
No, because I come from the school of sequels, of movie sequels. Rambo, Rocky, Weekend at Bernie's, Men in Black. All of those are Roman numerals. Why
Weekend
change
at Bernie's? Thank God there isn't a Weekend at Bernie's 50. You know what? I was looking for it to Super Bowl L, you know, like Romo numeral, like never wins. Get it?
Whoa!
Romo
numeral? Jackie McMullen.
Okay.
We'll move on. Showdown 2. Cubs Mets last night. Exciting finish. Not exactly arousing halfway through. Board off asleep. Also, unrelated, this Pablo Sandoval foul ball, this reporter's destroyed laptop, this reporter's reaction. He had to walk it off a little bit. Jackie, what caught your eye?
Oh, my gosh, this poor reporter. Of course, it was the 8th inning of an 8-3 game. You know what that means in our business, Tony? The story's done. You're just waiting for it to go and you press send. And that poor guy had to start all over and borrow someone's laptop.
Discrepancy, I'm sort of inclined to just sort of fall asleep right now, actually, given that.
Yes, I think you should. Pablo, you invoke Back to the Future. That's usually, here, points. Sure. Weekend at Bernie's, points. Romo numeral. Jackie Mac, take the FaceTime right now.
All right, I have to be quick today. All I can tell you is LeBron James was not a unanimous choice for the first team All-NBA. I'm really thinking to myself, who on earth would not pick him? I found out it's someone I value a lot, Chris Sheridan, a great veteran scribe. But, Chris, you blew it, man. You know as well as I do. He and Durant deserved both to be unanimous. And I'm sorry it didn't turn out that way. Chris, I can't back you on this one.
Only one thing was unanimous here. Look at that score. It's showed at 17 points for Jackie
Pablo, wake up. Wake up and see. I won, Pablo. I won.
Did I win?
That's good, folks. Thanks for coming around. We're on a 23.5 hour break. We'll see you tomorrow around the horn. There is blood pooling up under Jackie's plasma.
I won.
For what you did to Romo.
Father's Day is coming, and Dick's has amazing deals for Dad. Get him out on the green with a new driver from Callaway, TaylorMade, Cobra, or Nike. Save $100 on select 2014 drivers. Update his wardrobe with 33% off select Nike golf polos and shorts. Give Dad a Nike Fuel Band to help him track his workouts. Or let him get exactly what he wants with a Dick's gift card. Use your scorecard to get 3% cash back and to be entered into our Father's Day million-point giveaway. Some exclusions may apply. See store for details. Every season starts at Dick's.